All That Glitters is one of the more popular maps in Beyond All Reason, but we all know the canyon just plain sucks. Oftentimes, you're going to be up against one of the best players because they have a bit of an advantage on the other side. And that also means you're going to be raided more frequently, which is manageable if you are prepared for it. One of the main reasons why this side of the map is so difficult is because overall you have less metal coming in than your opponent. If you go to the other lane, you're going to realize that they have a few more mexes than you, which over time will build up and give them a big advantage. It means they'll have a larger economy to either scale with, or a larger economy to put into their army and then crush you early. This is why a lot of new players really struggle in the canyon. But honestly, they're left to solve it because it's one of the less enjoyable positions to play. But that doesn't have to be the case. Today, we're going to walk through some examples of how you can hold the canyon a little bit better, but it takes a bit of teamwork. So let's consolidate our resources and find out what we have to use to our advantage. The best thing that you really have at your disposal is the fact that it is a tight area. There's not very many ways for the enemy to maneuver around you, which means that you can abuse placements of walls and turrets a little bit easier than if you were in another location. Mines can be exceptionally good because there's so much limited space of where the enemy is going to be able to go. But if you do want to try to use mines, be sure that you have them off of cloak when the enemy is not around. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of energy on them. If you and your teammates don't properly coordinate, then it's gonna be a disaster for you, basically guaranteed. You're gonna be running around trying to figure out how to stop this overwhelming force running towards you, and your commander's just gonna end up getting exploded within a very short amount of time. To avoid this problem, definitely make sure that you try to use that tight area to your advantage. It is literally your only strength for the canyon. Be sure to coordinate with the person behind you to make sure that all the holes are plugged, and try to get a stronghold up above where you can bombard the enemy. But keep in mind, commanders can come and totally destroy all of your work. Now don't forget, if you've enjoyed watching the video so far, be sure to subscribe. If you do have opportunity where you feel you have an overwhelming force built up, you can try to push out of the canyon and get some of that open ground, and take some of the mexes that you would like to use to increase your economy. This doesn't always work though, because you often are a little bit behind rather than ahead, so they should be able to shut you down pretty easily. But if they misplay it, take advantage. Having your commander behind the very first section of canyon is actually a very good position for him. You can set up an excellent line of defenses and have a lot of build power there just waiting to be used. This is not even mentioning the fact that you have a D-gun that is now available at a very tight location. It can be almost impossible to break through when the commander has his D-gun right on the front. If you can convince your ally to bring his commander up as well, you instantly double your potential of holding the canyon. There's really only two positions that the enemy can push at, And if you have a commander in each of those positions, they're never going to get through with those D guns so close. This is also why traditionally having the player in the back of the canyon ecoing is generally a bad idea, because you're never going to out eco your enemy and they will have a stronger force waiting to push on you. Taking risks in the canyon can definitely backfire. If you start to lose potential and momentum, you're going to spiral out of control and eventually get overrun. You're already at limited resources as it is. You do not need more issues when you lose a fight. Your goal as a canyon player is to take advantage of every opportunity to get ahead as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. As long as you can hold out for your eco player in the center to come and assist you guys late game, you will be okay. Flame turrets are one of the best things you can build in the canyon. They provide super heavy damage per second while also being very resistant to artillery fire. Pop up a couple of these with a couple repair turrets behind them, and no one will want to push into you. Once you do get these turrets up, try to bait the enemy into them so that you get extra damage from the flame fire as they push into you. Have your commander close by to be ready with those D guns, and you'll achieve excellent damage per second. When you start to build turrets like this though, you're going to run into issues with artillery, which is a given. So it is recommended that you either have your own counter artillery units, or you can also try to build some radar jamming to hinder the effects. It's not a guarantee that it will work, but it can help. In this game, the blue player decided to add a very interesting composition to his canyon hold, but I can't really hate on it because it worked pretty well. He threw in a couple possums. For those who don't know, that's the hovercraft missile truck. And hovercrafts get a lot of hate for good reason, but this missile truck really was putting in some work. This is the best hold I've ever seen in Canyon. A mix of two commanders, flame turrets on both sides, missile trucks raining down fire. If they added a couple more repair turrets in the back, it could have been nearly unstoppable. There are of course ways to break through, such as spiders climbing up the sides of the canyon and pushing in with extra damage, but these can also be countered with snipers and counter spiders that are able to help push back and forth against that type of attack. So to sum it up, if you want to play Canyon, go for it. If you want to get good at Canyon, everyone will appreciate you because it is a very difficult position to play. We all know how pivotal the role of Canyon is. A lot of games are either won or lost just in what happens in that position. I do, however, recommend that the best players in the game don't start in Canyon because you can lose a little bit of your effect on the entire battlefield by taking that position. It is, however, good to have some of the more medium players holding the canyon just so it doesn't collapse too easily, and that the person pushing against it still has to work hard to get that. I hope this was helpful and that maybe you learned a little bit on how to coordinate with your allies to hold the canyon better. And as always, I will see you on the battlefield.